the pretty views, Malta hides some of the most unbelievable stories. Like the island where stepping ashore meant never leaving again. Or the chapel where a painting spoke and silence turned into belief. The cave where immortality was promised if you stayed. This isn't just a travel video. It's a revelation of the many stories whispered on Malta and the beauty shaped by them. Did you know that Malta is one of the world's smallest countries, and you can cross it in under an hour? But don't let its size fool you, because this tiny island holds many secrets, including one that's older than the pyramids. And can you imagine that this ancient temple has been standing for over 5,000 years? Tucked away on the island of Gozo, the Gantija temples are made of towering limestone blocks, older than both Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. Too advanced for their time, they sparked legends. Some said a giantess built them, carrying stones on her head while nursing a child. Sounds far-fetched, but when you stand before them, it almost makes sense. But what's even more astonishing? While most of Europe deals with snow and frost, Malta enjoys something entirely different. It's never snowed here. Not once. Even in the coldest months, the island stays sunny and mild. It's like nature gave Malta a permanent holiday. And if that's not enough, there are no rivers, no forests, not even a single natural lake. Yet somehow, the landscape feels anything but empty. And just when you think it couldn't get more unexpected, turns out some of Malta's most beloved locals are cats. They roam freely across villages, harbors, and historic sites like they own them, and honestly, they kind of do. Also, did you know that Malta's most popular place isn't even on the main island? Just off the coast, on the tiny island of Comino, lies the Blue Lagoon, a stretch of water so clear and vibrant it doesn't even need a filter. Then, just as you're starting to think Malta's all sunshine and serenity, you turn a corner and find a red British phone box. Right next to a royal post box, still standing, still used. A leftover from British rule, blending right into the limestone streets. One more layer in an already layered island. And speaking of layers, have you ever heard a language that mixes Arabic structure, Italian rhythm, and English vocabulary? That's Maltese. It's the only Semitic language written in the Latin alphabet, and it tells the story of every culture that's ever passed through these islands. Comino Island. First, let's head to an island so small you can walk across it in under an hour. But what if I told you that this tiny place once held the power to decide who lived or died? Sounds dramatic, I know, but stick with me and I'll show you exactly how. Welcome to Comino, a rugged, sun-bleached rock in the Mediterranean floating between Malta and Gozo. It's just 3.5 square kilometers with no towns, no traffic, and only 2 full-time residents. If you've ever craved silence, this is where you'll find it. Most people come for the Blue Lagoon, and yeah, it's the kind of turquoise you didn't think existed in real life. Did you know the Blue Lagoon isn't even that deep? Most of it is just chest high. That's what makes the color so insane. It's basically nature's swimming pool. If you're looking for a quieter experience, take the path to Santa Maria Bay. Same glowing water, but with way fewer people. But how could a place this peaceful decide who lived or died? You'll find the answer up on the cliffs. See that squat stone tower? That's Comino Tower, built in 1618 by the Knights of St. John. It was part of a network of coastal defenses, but its role wasn't just military. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Comino was used as a plague quarantine station. Ships arriving from foreign ports were stopped offshore. If anyone on board looked sick, the entire crew was marooned here. No escape, no medicine, sometimes no second chance. For many, Comino literally became the line between survival and death. And now, it's a protected nature reserve and bird sanctuary, home to wild herbs, seabirds, and lizards. There's no real infrastructure, just a small hotel, a police outpost, and the kind of silence that hits different once you know what this island once was. Medina. Now let me ask you something. Why would a city be called the Silent City? You're probably thinking it's just quiet, maybe a little sleepy. But the real reason? It's not what you think. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Medina is Malta's ancient hilltop capital, frozen in time and wrapped in stone walls that have stood for centuries. Built high in the center of the island, it's been standing for over 4,000 years, shaped by Phoenicians, Romans, Arabs, and Normans. Its streets twist and turn like a maze, perfect for confusing invaders and hiding secrets. Did you know Medina has no modern storefronts or even signs? No ads, no neon, nothing loud. Just soft colors, hand-carved stone, and buildings that whisper their history. Medina feels different from the moment you step through its gates. The city is full of palaces and quiet courtyards, once home to Malta's most powerful families. That's why it's also known as the Noble City. You might recognize it too. Medina has been used as a filming location for Game of Thrones, Assassin's Creed, and more, because honestly, it doesn't need set dressing. It already looks like a dream. So why is it really called the Silent City? It's not just quiet, it's silent because almost nothing modern is allowed inside. No cars, no traffic, no crowds or clutter. Just stone streets, a few horse-drawn carriages, and that eerie stillness that makes you feel like time stopped moving centuries ago. And when night falls, that feeling only deepens. The lanterns glow softly on golden walls, the air cools, the city goes still. And for a moment, it feels like you've slipped through history and landed somewhere that refuses to change. Qaraba Bay. Have you ever looked down at a place and felt like it was keeping something to itself? Like there's a reason it stays hidden, even when the rest of the island is packed with people. There is, and I'll show you what it is. From the trail above, Qaraba Bay looks like something out of a dream. A natural amphitheater carved into golden clay cliffs with a small crescent of sand tucked deep below. The cliffs seem to wrap around the bay like a secret being protected. No signs, no boardwalk, no sound but the wind. Just this hidden curve of the coast, glowing in the sunlight. Sometimes you'll spot a single umbrella left behind by someone who came early and didn't want to leave. And the path down? There isn't one, at least not officially. You have to scramble down steep clay slopes, dusty and crumbling under your feet. It's not dangerous, but it does make you ask, is this really worth it? Have you ever had a moment where you reached the bottom of a trail and realized you were completely alone? No crowds, no voices, just waves and wind. That's the secret Qaraba keeps. It's not that people don't know about it, it's that most just won't go through the effort to get here. And that effort, it protects the silence. What you're left with is something rare in Malta: pure stillness. Clear, calm water. A stretch of sand with no umbrellas, no music, and no one else in sight, just you and the sea. Locals call it a deserted paradise, and once you've been here, you'll understand why. Marsaxloch. At first glance, Marsaxloch feels simple. A quiet bay, colorful boats, fishermen going about their day. But look a little closer, and you'll notice something strange painted on every boat, something that's been there for thousands of years. And the reason why it's there, it's not what most people think. Marsaxloch is a traditional fishing village on Malta's southeast coast. Its name comes from Marsa, meaning port, and Xloch, the hot Sirocco wind that blows in from the Sahara. The harbor may feel peaceful now, but it's seen its share of history, including naval landings by Napoleon himself. Today, the real stars of the village are the boats. Known as luzus, they're brightly painted in red, yellow, green, and blue. Remember those strange marks I mentioned earlier? They're eyes, painted on the bow of every boat in the harbor. They aren't just for decoration. This tradition goes all the way back to the Phoenicians, and those eyes were believed to protect fishermen at sea, to help them find their way home, and to keep evil away from their nets. Some say it's superstition. Others won't leave shore without them. Beyond the symbolism, life here moves slow. Fishermen mend their nets by hand. Boats sway gently in the harbor. It's quiet, unhurried, and deeply local, especially compared to the island's busier tourist spots. It's also one of the most photogenic places in Malta. The boats, the light, the color. It all feels effortlessly perfect, but somehow still lived in. And if you're here on a Sunday, the famous waterfront market takes over the village. Sure, there's fish, but also local honey, homemade wine, spices, lace, olives, things that smell like the sea and taste like someone's backyard. Gozo Island. Gozo is full of legends, but one of them might actually be true. And once you see the place for yourself, it's hard not to believe it. Just 25 minutes from Malta by ferry, Gozo is the second largest island in the archipelago, but it feels like another world. Life moves slower here. The roads are quieter, the air greener, and the sky somehow wider. People say Gozo is what Malta felt like 40 years ago, before things sped up. And the island wears that pace like a badge of honor. You'll see rugged cliffs, sweeping sea views, and jagged coastlines that seem carved by myth. It was once home to the famous Azure Window, a natural stone arch that collapsed into the sea in 2017. But Gozo still holds other coastal wonders, like the Inland Sea and Wied il Miela. Locals here are known for being warm, proud, and community-driven. Farmers still work the land, fishermen still head out at dawn, and everything just feels a little more human. And yes, about that legend. Gozo is said to be the home of Calypso's cave, where, according to Homer's Odyssey, the nymph Calypso held Odysseus captive for 7 years, offering him immortality if he stayed. It's just a small cave above the sea, But when you stand there looking out at the endless water surrounded by silence, you start to understand why the story stuck. It doesn't feel like a myth. It feels like a place that remembers something. And if that's not ancient enough for you, Gozo is also home to the Gantija temples. Built more than 5,500 years ago, they're older than the pyramids of Egypt. Massive stone slabs stacked without mortar. No one knows how. No one knows why. But they're still standing. Popeye Village. This might be the strangest village in Malta. It looks old, but it's not. It feels abandoned, but it's full of life. And the reason it was built? Most people have no idea, but it's not what you think. Tucked into a cove on Malta's northwest coast, Popeye Village looks like a faded postcard from another era. Crooked rooftops, wonky wooden houses, colors that look like they've been bleached by salt and time. But here's the twist. This isn't a real village at all. It was built in 1979 as a movie set for the live-action Popeye film starring Robin Williams. And they didn't take it down. Instead, it stayed. And over time, it turned into one of the most unusual attractions in Malta. A part theme park, part open-air museum, part seaside oddity that doesn't take itself too seriously. You can walk through the buildings, climb the rickety porches, even watch actors perform songs or dress up like cartoon characters. It's weird, it's wonderful, and it somehow fits perfectly against the cliffs and turquoise water. But if you're not into shows or cheesy photo ops, there's something else. The view from above. From the cliffs looking down, Popeye Village becomes a perfect film set again, frozen in time, staged against one of the most stunning bays in Malta. It's not ancient, it's not sacred, but it's fun, bizarre, and completely unforgettable. Sweeney Bay. From a distance, Sweeney Bay looks like just another quiet stretch of coast. But there's something carved into the landscape here, something that's been shaped by hand for hundreds of years. You probably wouldn't notice it at first, but once you do, you'll never see this bay the same way again. Set along Gozo's northern shoreline, Sweeney Bay is calm, simple, and surprisingly empty. There's no sand, just flat limestone and shallow water that gently laps against the edge. It's the kind of place where nothing seems to happen, and that's exactly why people come here. The cliffs nearby feel ancient and untouched. Fishermen launch small boats from the curve of the bay. Locals walk their dogs. The silence here feels almost intentional. But if you start walking along the coast, something strange catches your eye. The rock beneath your feet suddenly shifts from natural to patterned, lined, almost like stone tiles arranged by design. These are the carvings I mentioned, the ones shaped by hand, century after century. What you're seeing aren't random formations. They're salt pans carved into the stone and still used today to harvest sea salt the traditional way. Generations of families have worked this same patch of coastline, collecting salt from sun-dried pools in the rock. You might even spot someone out there, dragging a wooden rake through the shallows, just like it's been done for centuries. So no, Sweeney Bay isn't just another quiet spot. It's one of the oldest working coastlines on the island. A place shaped not just by nature, but by people, slowly, patiently, and with a rhythm that hasn't changed in hundreds of years.